Silaon na Bolon, an aspect of the high cut. In myth A2, we read that the monster is lowered by the three birds on a square rack towards the middle road. In the north, by the narrator of myth A, it is called Silaon na Bolon. We have further read of this god that he is one of the young ones of the two birds that made it in the upper world. One has, however, reason to doubt the originality of the above, in our opinion. Silaon na Bolon is an aspect of the totality of the three birds to one Bubi na Bolon, and consequently a manifestation of the high god. We read, namely in myth A3 SQ, that, that it was Silaon na Bolon who brought up the four beings, whereas according to the myth mentioned in note 21 and 25, it was the three birds who took this task upon them. Moreover, we are in the possession of a myth, the text of which has been recorded by Guru Silalahi at Tomok, which is very elucidating in this respect. Adong mana magkuha tuan sori mga raja, anak ni tuan sogba di banua. Dua dojol mana, imasada buku pasaribu, jalasada nari buku si pasopait. Ia buku pasaribu nunga tubu-tubuan, ale buku si pasopait dang dope. Dina sahari, mahoja masada raja. Di ting-ting ibada ma, asagotu hojanai, di dogma na soboi do hotu pesta nai akan nasohea panagusan. Mabagay tangis masih bogu pasopait tutuan sori mga raja ala soboi do hotu pestai mamiringi di jo tua sori mga raja madatu pormanuk asa disukun raja ni parmanuhon si aji nakapiring manang dia si ulaon asa tubuh danak di si bogu pasopait. Jadi Roma datui di pasinggalak maduri dipatukap maapang dong dipotong manuki. Magbuah-buah madatui di dok. Mangihutun buah-buah ni mula jadi. Mangihutun manuk sina-sina kapiringon. Naing mapukaun raga-raga na bolak. Pakati-hatian yo puta mula jadi nagabe Silaon na Bolon. Bayanon maribagas ang miya si guy-guy dok suman-suman ni debata ini. Dipajadi-jadi masude nai hut laos di palu ogung. Di jauh sude dongan tubuna pabuao na tona ni mula jadi. Pabuao na tona ni mula jadi doi hite manuk diapang. Dong dibayan saut matubu geleng di bogu. Dong dibayan saut matubu geleng di bogu si pasopait. I.e., there was a certain man by the name of Tuan Sori Mangaraja, son of Tuan Sogba di Banua. He had two wives. The first was called Bogu Pasaribu, and the second Bogu Sipasopait. Bogu Pasaribu had already children. Bogu Sipasopait not yet. One day, a ruler wished to give a feast. He invited everybody to be present, with the exception of the barren woman. On hearing this, Bogu Sipasopait began to cry, and she complained to her husband Tuan Sori Mangaraja, for she would have liked so much to assist at the celebration. Thereupon, Tuan Sori Mangaraja sent for a datu, expert in fortune telling by means of the cock oracle, in order to ask the prince of the oracle cock, Siajina Kapiring, what should be done to put an end to Bogu Sipasopait's barrenness. The datu came and placed a rice window on the ground. Thereupon he killed cock, put it on the rice window, and then covered the window with a square basket turned upside down. After this, the datu began to speak, saying, according to the pronouncement of Mula Jadi, a sound by this cock Siajina Kapiring You must begin to make a wide square rack as a seat of our pengmula jadi who will become Silaon na Bolon on this rack. You must you must place a siguri-guri pot filled with oil and effigy of debata hidup. All these orders were carried out. The symbol were struck. Then Tuan Sori Bangaraja invited all his relations and that the, informed them that this was done by order of Mula Jadi to the cock. Sometime after this ceremony, Bogu Sibasopait did get a child. B. Raga Raga. Let us now pay attention to the Raga Raga, the seat of Silaon na Bolon. Every marga not yet covered to Christianity possess ruang. It is suspended for the third horizon roof bin pamoltok ni rumah. Can be seen from sketch 1 made by Guru Silalahi in Tomok. Each corner of the rug is attached to a rope made by twisting fiber of the sugar palm tree called Talisi Ariman. These 4 ropes are joined and tied fast with a 3-colored rope, black, red, and white, called Bonang Manalu or Bonang Sitiga Jalan. From the Bonang Manalu, there hangs a pot containing oil called Kuri Sijongi over the rack. Moreover, the rack is adorned with leaves of the palm tree mare. What purpose does this raga serve? When many members of our marga are unhappy, when the crops are bad, when again and again they are losing their children, or when their wives are barren, then they decide to make sacrifices to Silaon Nabolon. The members of the marga, including the Bogu living in the territory of the marga in question, come together in front of the palace of sacrifice on a day fixed in advance. Also, representatives of other marga are invited. Then the square rack is lowered and on it are placed meat and fish on the plate, pinggan lima, palm wine, and water of plate, pinggan basu. The most important part of the sacrifice is the betel leaves put on the rack by the members of the marga on board motung leaves. Each one marks the betel leaves he has laid down so as to be able to recognize them afterwards when the ceremony is over. Some oil is poured out of the pot into a horn of sahan, whereupon the whole square rack is covered with a cloth called ulos ragi hidup. After that, the barren women are placed in a row alongside the wall of the place of sacrifice, each of them carrying an effigy of debata hidup on her back. This is the God. This is the God who grants life to the children in the womb, as an aspect of Silaon Bolon, as we shall see presently. Then the percussion instruments are struck. Their skin-covered wooden drums are beaten, and the flute begins to pipe. After that, a priest pronounced a formula of prayer, the text of which, given us by Arman Yubat in Tomok, follows underneath. Hutongo hupio hupangalualui sumangot niyo punami, sumangot niyo puburu, sumangot niyo punami, sumangot niyo pururi, sumangot rumah-rumah na jumadi Silaon na Bolon, na maniti na manggabe di hasutanon. Hodo na hudul di raga-raga na bolak, na mangutian di pamotok ni rumah, na magtatagaong di talisi ariman, na maghalinuhon di guri-guri si Jonggi, na mangan di pinggan limar, na magsihuho di pinggan pasu, na manggara di bulong motong, minum bagot raja di tuak, ay raja ni tapian, pagdemban na lopo-lopo jungjungon, pagpining tinikil-tikilan, na magtali-talion bonang si tiga jalan, pagudang ragi-ragian, pagmanuk sobat turun, pagpidong maghata-hata, opu raja mula-mula, opu raja mula adong, mula ni so sungguon, idangmu na jumadihon bohi, gabungan mial-mial na jumadihon pamatang, na patiko-tiko ulu, mula ni si majujung, na pajabe-jabe obuk, pula ni supoghoton, raja itan sumogmin nagabe si malolong, ladis Maria mula ni igung, si bobol has raja ni rosang, hadang diri mula ni pipi, raja makhilap mula ni tangan, raja gubok na bolon mula ni pusu-pusu, raja ugun tiria na jumadi ate-ate, raja imbang mula ni pogu, pegang mangaris raja ni pia, raja ali mula ni lipa, nada guruan mula ni siubeon, raja udion patabang bitis, na jumadipat, na jumadipat, jumadion sima jojak, jojak ma anak tubuh, jojak ma bogu tubuh, bitang na gumiris obun na sumorop anak periris bogu petorop. I.e., I invoke you, I appeal to you, the spirits of our ancestors, spirit of our primary grandmother, spirit of our primary grandfather, who dwell in this place of sacrifice, who are united with Silaon Bolon, the one who has given this Maga its destiny and the blissful gifts of children. It is you, Silaon Bolon, who sees the white raga, which is suspended from the upper horizontal roof beam of the house, and who climbs up and down Siariman rope, who sees himself reflected in the oil of the guri si jongi, who eats from the limak plate, and who rinses his mouth in the pasu plate, who chews the betel leaves laid on the broad motung leaves, who drinks the best palm wine and the purest water. You, the one who chews the betel leaves, so difficult to reach, i.e., which grow in the highest places of the tree and are therefore difficult to reach, who has a bunch of pinang nuts, who has the three-colored Bonang Siti Gajalan as his headcloth, and a great quantity of flowers of different colors, who has the percussion instruments producing high and low tones as his hands, and who has the big skin covered wood drums tatarganding and the flute sarun as his birds. You, the mighty and powerful one, are the origin of what exists, of what does not wish to be stirred, i.e., child in the womb. Your forehead made our foreheads, your body made our bodies. You made the heads round, you, the origin of the head. It is you who let the hair grow long so that the woman can plait their hair into knots. You, your eyes, your nose, your chin, your cheeks, and hands are the origin of ours. You made our hearts and livers. Your gall, your kidney, your milk, and belly are the origin of ours. Your calf made our calves broad, and you made our legs and feet. May many sons and daughters soon be born, sons as many as the star of heaven, and as many daughters as the heavy lower hanging clouds. Then, with the great noise and by the sound of the drums and the percussion instruments, the raga is drawn up. The members of the maga dance rapturously, and meanwhile oil from the pot guigusi jongi is poured out in the direction of the genitals of the barren woman. The celebration lasts of a few days, which at the stretch. At the end, the raga is lowered again. Then everybody looks at his better leaves to see in what state it is. When it is withered, adversity awaits him, such as sickness, death, etc. But when his leaves is moist, he may be sure of a happy future, his children, his cattle will increase, etc. The four beings. The raga is therefore of great importance to the Tobanese, but let us penetrate further into the matter. In our opinion, it's a symbol of the middle world. This is very obvious from the following. The rag is a square one. Most probably, the Toba Batak wished to indicate by it the 4 points of the compass, the totality of the middle world. The four beings which came out of the broken eggs landed on the rag after having been tossed to and fro by the waves and driven by the wind. Myth A3. In the rag vast extends extents of land are mentioned, including the border of Sitoga Sibuan and Sitoga Nai Pospos to Magain Toba, myth A 456. One can go further still. The red represents the total community. Let us have let us have look let us have a look at the tricolor and the pot hanging from it. Most probably they symbolize the four beings, for we read that Batak has a black one headcloth and a black horse that has the same but then of a red color, while Balabulan has a white and lives near a waterfall as white as Clint's kapok. Besides, each of these three men has to over Silaon Bolon the skin of respectively a black, red and white horse. As to debata, he is supposed to create and form in the womb to live forever in the midst of the angular branches of a banyan tree with a egg. Considering that the oil in the guri-guri sijongi is said to be liquor amni, the reason why it is poured out in the direction of the genitals of the barren woman and that the pot is hanging from the tricolor in the middle of the four lobes, which form an angle, it is perhaps not too risky to conclude that the pot symbolizes the Bata Asiasi. What do these four beings mean to the Tobanese? In our opinion, we have to look upon Batara Sog and Barabulan as representations of the three functional groups Hula Hula, Dongansa, Butuha, and Boru in the Tobanese system of relationship, while the Bata Asiasi reflects the totality of these groups. Then, to motivate this, it is necessary to penetrate into the system. We start from the supposition that sketch 2 is the founder of a village belonging to a certain marga, i.e. a patrilineal clan or an exogamous patrilineage who have chosen a piece of ground in the district of his marga to build his village. We suppose that he has three sons, 2, 3, 4, and a daughter, 5. This daughter is supposed to be married to 6, a member of another marga who was settled in the village of his father-in-law 1. It is very often occurred and still occurs that a man sets out from another district, such a stranger begins to work for the village founder or for one of his direct descendants. If he succeeds in winning the sympathy of his employer, he may be sure of a marriage with one of his employer's daughters. To understand the relationship between the different individuals occurring in the sketch, it is necessary to explain the meaning of the three terms mentioned, viz. Dongan Sabutuha, Hula Hula, and Boru. The term Dongan Sabutuha, i.e. warm companions, i.e. those who originate from one womb, points to agnatic relationship. The Dongan Sabutuha are called Dongan Samaga, i.e. Maga companions, and thus one's Dongan Sabutuha are in principle all male members of one's maga. Normally, however, the word refers more specially to the nearer agnates, the Namaksaopu, i.e. those agnates who have a great grandfather in common. Thus, one part. Thus 1, 2, 3, 4. Thus 1. There's 1 prime, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14 of the sketch are each other's dongan sabutuha, and the same can be said in the case of 6, 4, 16, 17, 18. The term hula hula principally points to one's father-in-law and his near dongan sabutuha belonging to his namaksaopu. Begu principally indicates one's son-in-law and his nerodongan sa butuha. The Toba Batak know a system of unilateral marriages between the Namak Sapu of different marker, where a member of Namak Sapu A marries a woman of Namak Sapu B. It's impossible for a B man to marry a woman. He will have to look for a wife in another Namak Sapu C, whereas an A woman will have to find her husband in a Namak Sapu D. Schematically represented, the marriage relations are as follows: D A B C. It is same. B is the burg of C, A the burg of B, D the burg of A, vice versa. A is the hula hula of D, B the hula hula of A, C the hula hula of B. In our sketch, the Namak Sopo of 6, 9 prime, 11 prime are the burg of the Namak Sopo of 1. Vice versa, the Namak Sopo of 1 is the hula hula of the Namak Sopo 6, 9 prime and 11 prime. The Namak Sopo of 19 prime is the burg of the Namak Sopo of 16 and vice versa. This the hula hula of the Namak Sopo of 19 prime. Although the relation hula hula burgu fundamentally exists among the members of the Namak Sopu, yet actually finds it among individuals more directly related by marriage. When 6 marries 5, he takes the obligation upon himself to consider the Namak Sopu of 1 as his hula hula. The obligations, however, resulting from this are especially felt with respect to one himself. One is the hula hula proper. He is beheld in due respect. It is from the hula hula proper that the Toba Batak expect prosperity in the first place. This is also the case. Those in a lesser degree with respect to 1 prime, 2 prime, 2 to 1 prime, 1 prime prime, 2, 3, 4 are the dongan sabuta of 1, the hula hula proper. We suppose that 16 is married to a daughter of his tulang, his maternal uncle, 4, his 14, who is called his pariban. Marrying one's pariban is theoretically the usual thing. More than one, they deviate from this rule. After having got the so-called maternal uncle's permission, we shall take this for granted. We shall take it for granted that 17 and 6 and 18 are, after having acquired this permission, have married women of another Damak Sopra and have settled down in the village of their respective brother-in-law. Even in this case, they will consider their maternal uncles as their hula hula, but most of all, they have to deal with their wives' fathers, who are their hula hula proper. The fact that the relation of the hula hula and begu, though in principle it holds good for all the members of Namak Sopu, is in the practice of daily life, especially relation between those directly related by marriage gives a special function to the other members of the Namak Sopu, viz. The nearest Tongan Sabutua of the brother-in-law and of the sons-in-law, a function which is often an intermediary one. Even in the preliminary discussion with respect to the marriage, they play a part in fixing bride wealth. The Tongan Sabutua have it in their power to stop the marriage negotiations. On the other hand, it is they who see to it that the contraction of the marriage takes place in accordance with the adat. Moreover, the Dongan Sabutua of the Hula Hula proper, consequently the fathers-in-law, are entitled to a part of the bride wealth. It is for these three functional groups, the Hula Hula, and the intermediating groups of the Dongan Sabutua, that the Tobanese use the expression Dalihana Tolu, the three props of the cooking pot. 16. Marriage 15. 6 will have to pay the bride wealth. Let us now suppose that after the marriage of 15, her cousin 6 marries a member of another naga and follows her husband to another village. In this case, 2 is the hula hula proper of 16 of 6 and 3 and 4 are the principal members of the Hudongan Sabuta of 2. They will get a portion of the bride word paid by 6 prime. His father, his Dongan Sabutua in Boru. Even 6, however, being the principal Boru of the Namak Sop of 2, gets a portion of it and has a share in the matter. The same is the case of the occasion of the marriage of 11. Then 2, 4, as Dongan Sabutua of 3, and 6 as Boru get each portion of the bride word. Now let us assume that 16 that 13 is going to marry. Then 4 has to pay the bride word, but 2 and 3 as Tungan Sabutua must also pay part for it. 6, but especially 16. Who is the nearer word of 13 likewise? There is still another important function of the Dongan Sabutuha. If 4 should die, while 13 and 14 are still small and 15 is already married to 16, 2 and 3 will replace 4, taking over his right and obligations. 2. Being the eldest brother of 4 takes most of this upon himself, having become the hula hula prop of 16. The hula hula is to be seen as the representative of the high god. It is not enough to state, says Vergoen, OCP 63, that the Boru stand in awe of the hula hula and that the latter must be treated with great respect, nor that the Boru enjoy the glory and splendor with the radiates from the hula hula. To, to them, he is also a source of magic power, of personal vitality. And on P64, he continues, the hula hula is sometimes said to be the wakil debata, the representative of the high god in the sublunary word to his ianakon, his daughter's children. He is the pangiduan lohot panjalawan pasu-pasu di Boruna, i.e., he is the one in particular whom the Boru must ask for pasu-pasu, for a blessing, while for a blessing when they are in distress, in which they are born to get. For example, if a woman in our sketch 15 should not get children, if a woman in our sketch 15 should not get children, which will be the greatest misfortune to her, and if before adopting another line of conduct, she together with her husband should turn to her own relations, parents or brothers in our sketch 4 or 13 or 14, then the respectful address of her husband to his family-in-law will be more or less as follows. Ubahin ako hami tu jolo muna, tung naungol-ngolan do rohanami na lao so magtidakdanak bogu munaon. Jadi ia tungadong hasala-salaan nami ba manopoti ma hami nuaing tu hamu gajanami ba manupak ma sahala muna do hoto di muna sai dilhon debata mahagabion di hami yanakonmon dinna. We have come to you because we have become impatient on account of the long delay in getting children from this your daughter. Should we have wronged you? Then now we ask you to pardon us, Almighty One. May please your sahala and tondi to help us, and may debata give us, your begu, the blissful gift of children. Here we follow the Batak text and not Vergoen's Dutch translation.
What will the Nongan Sahuta of do in this case? They, in our sketch 2 and 3, are obliged to present on this occasion. Should EG4 not invite them, this ceremony is not valid. On such an occasion, it is a custom that 4 should reply to the speech of 14, expressing the hope that debata may soon grant his daughter and son-in-law a child. For this repast, 16 has been obliged to kill an expensive pig. As soon as 15 is pregnant, for in his turn will bring as soon as 15 is pregnant, 4 in his turn will bring food to his daughter and his son-in-law. He must prepare fish for this meal, which of course is not so expensive as a pig. It is a custom that 17 and 18, the Dongan Sabutuha of 16, should be present on this occasion. If they arrive too far away and for this reason cannot come, 16 must look for a member on his own marga who is also born in one of the villages of the neighbor. Then this man will act as Dongan Sabutuha of 16. Thus we find the Trinity again, Hula Hula, Dongan Sabutuha and Boru. Also on this occasion the Hula Hula makes a speech to his Boru, but then he wraps a ragi loop, i.e. a woman cloth, round his daughter and son-in-law. 16 replies to this speech and give a present in return called piso, i.e. lance, fork or knife, but it is usually given money. As soon as the child is born, the Boru 16 will again bring food to his hula hula for. It is a pig again, killed for this occasion, and again 2 and 3 must be present as long as Sabutua 4. There are also speeches on both sides, but during this ceremony 4, with the permission of 2 and 3, gives a patch of ground to 16 called ulos nasora buruk, i.e. a cloth that cannot wear out. As a present made in return, 16 again offers his piso. Further, it may be observed that in daily life the hula hula can always count upon the financial support of his boru. If EG4 should receive guests to whom he must give a worthy reception, and if he should be short of money, then 16 must come to his aid. On the occasion of a feast organized by the whole village, the boru must be the workers, chiefly to cook the food and to invite all the relations from other villages, etc. Moreover, they must pay a great part of the expenses. It may, however, also occur that differences of opinion have arisen between 4 and 16, consequently between hula hula and boru. In this case, the Dongan Sabutu of both parties, forming one functional group, must try to reconcile them. Then 2 and 3 must get in touch with 17 and 6 and 18. If this is not possible, then it is necessary to try to find somebody from a village in the neighborhood or the same marga as 16 and also a bogu. It's a custom that both 4 and 16 should accept the decision. And what about the village chief who is called Raja Nihuta? He is the one who represents the Yadat, or to quote Krit speaking about the Toraja, he is the personified Adat, but he is also personified community. In this function, he represents the totality of Hula Hula, Nongan Sabutua and Buru in his village. Both qualities are shown in an unequivocal way in a discussion on jurisdiction translated by Ferguen OCP 165. Debata created the Raja to rule over the countries. Therefore, the Raja is the tower of the Yadat and of the administration of justice, so as to rule over the rich and the poor, men and women. The Raja is a shepherd who has no whip, a man who drives away weeds, who does not sling stones, does not need them, who looks after everything in his domain, who pays the debts, who collects the understanding debts from the rich as well as from the poor, who administers justice where it is necessary. The Raja is he who determines the rich measure, who keeps the pair of scales which does not tip, the pair of scales which leads to notice the beginning of the righteous word. He who leads the people to green pastures, who take care of the conditions of life of his subjects. Therefore, whenever a woodcutter looks for firewood, he does so as the woodcutter of the Raja, i.e., he could not do so if there were no Raja. Whenever a fisherman fishes, he is the fisher of the Raja. Whenever carries a load, he does so as the carry of the Raja. Whenever a man goes to the market, he is the market god of the Raja. Whenever an artisan uses his tools, he does so as the artisan of the Raja. All these things depend on the Raja. What was said of the village chief was also true of Sisingamangaraja with regard to the total sovereignty community. The text published on P150 SK of this work shows this very plainly. On nearly all festive occasions organized by one or more Maga, this prince was qualified in prayer. Let us now examine whether Bataragu, Sori, and Balabulan represent the three functional groups and in how far we can see the totality of these groups reflects in the Bata CRC. We will swiftly avail ourselves of the myths A4 to 8 as they contain many of the qualities to be found in a great many variants of the Tongo Tongo addressed to these mythical persons. In the old Tobarese myths, we read that Bataragugu, Sori, and Balabulan were three brothers. The first gave his daughter in marriage to the son of the third. In other words, Bataragu is to be considered as the representation of the hula hula, Balabulan that of Guru, while Sori is to be taken as a representation of the intermediate position typical of the Dongan Sabutuha. Let us now let us now look at the myths A4A. The attentive reader will immediately observe that Bataragu and Sori have some attributes in common which Balabulan has not. Both of them are said to be princes and to possess sawas on the slope of a mountain. It's a fact that the descendants of the founder of a village are called princes by the Baru, and it is they who possess sawas at a distance from the village. Moreover, Bataragu as well as Suri are said to possess Nangar Jatibot, by which, as our informants told us, the village gongs are meant. By no means can the Boru claim them. This phenomenon that they have some attributes in common will not surprise us if we remember that in principle the Dongan Sabuto of somebody's father-in-law must be considered as hula for the rest. However, the differences in the nature of the attributes are conspicuous. As to Batara, it is said that his sacrificial food must be superior. We have seen that this is also true with respect to somebody's hula hula. It is believed that the other is found with Bataru and that his was must listen to the Boru. His hula hula is the representative of the high god who is conceived as the one whose will is the adat. The relation Batagaru, Steph Oracle cannot be accidental. After consulting this kind of oracle, it is the custom to make a sacrifice to one's hula hula, which is called panahatan. Many places, rivers, trees, mountains, and even the highest spur of the upper world are mentioned as the place Bataragogo has come from. We did not find this mention with respect to Sori and Balabulan. Most probably this is done to indicate the high position of the hula hula. As to Sori, most of the attributes enumerated in a 5 points to a descent varieties in consecutive character. In mid-C4, this demonstrated when Sori acts as an arbiter between Batagaro and Balaburan. According to Myth A8, his sacrificial food is cooked with kurkuma. As stated above, the Dongan Sabuto must take good care that everything should be done in accordance with the adat. As stated above, the Dongan Sabutuha must take good care that everything should be done in accordance with the adat. If there should be a dispute between hula hula and boru,
there are the very persons to reconcile them. They must be strictly neutral in their intervention, like a sharp two-edged dagger, meet a wife. When brothers intend to offer each other a meal, a hen must be killed and cooked with curcuma and now skin. Too, with respect to tree and four and vice versa, we see the same thing when 16 brings food to the Rongan Sabuto of his father-in-law, phase 2. Also, when 2 or 3 invites 16 to dinner, a hen must be killed. This second shows the intermediary position of the Rongan Sabuto. In mid-18, we read that Balabulan forward his daughters. In mid-A6 describes him as always greedy of food, the origin of hospitality, the owner of a wood block which is never out of use. A meat is continually being cut upon it. Someone who sacrificial food must be carefully cut and cooked. Very wealthy, the possessor of asawa in the plain and of charms coming from a village of obstinate people, etc. There are the attributes characteristic of the Bogo. One, on the occasion of a communal feast, the Bogo must serve as cooks. A Bogo must very often invite not only his hula but also the friends of the latter. His food block is therefore its constant use. When his hula over put to him only cheap fish is dished up, but is cut and cooked very well. On the occasion of the marriage of his wife brother, he is obliged to take it upon himself to pay considerable part of the bride wealth. This stands to reason that a Burgo must be very wealthy so as to be able to meet his obligations properly. As a Burgo, however, one gets a patch of ground situated in the immediate vicinity of the village from one's hula. To become a Burgo in a village, one has to live one's own district. We have pointed out the dangers of such an enterprise in olden times, cf. 49. Therefore, such a man should have the necessary charms and perseverance. In mid-A7, debata is described as having no relations. Consequently, according to the Toba, he is and has neither hula nor dongan sabutuha, no dongan sabutuha nor boru, mid-A8. However, tell us that he is both glorified and cursed as the totality of the community. This must needs lead to the conclusion that he is seen as the inseparable oneness of hula, dongan sabutuha, and boru typical of the village with and until the certainty of sisingang mga raja, raga Silaon na guru. So we have seen that the raga represents the middle word and the total community. Most probably it is the tree of life of the Tobanese, life and death, prosperity and adversity, etc. are believed to be originating from it, considering that it is said to be hanging from the tree of life of the upper world. One may look upon it as an aspect of the mythical rock Nangarjati as well as of the stump of the tree in the middle of the sea, CFP 61. In other words, it is to be considered as the middle part of the cosmic tree we have mentioned above. But one can draw another more important conclusion. The Raga is Silaon Bolon himself. This is shown very clearly by the text of the formula of prayer to be addressed to this god. For we read CFP 69 that he is sitting on the square rack, that he climbs up and down the Siariman rope and sees himself reflected in the oil of the pot Guriguri Siyongi. Besides, the tricolor is said to be his headcloth. From this, it should follow that the rack and its parts are comprised in Silaon Nabolon. To put it otherwise, Silaon Nabol is seen as the totality of the middle world and the Tobanese community.